As the economy bounces back from the pandemic, state leaders are trying to figure out what to do with the federal funds passed by Congress. It's an accountability group spent the morning talking about what to do. News 4's problem solver Carice Jackman is chasing the money, and she spoke with members of the comptroller's office and also some of the critics.
Absolutely. A lot of critics out there, but also a lot of people saying we're going to follow the money and do it right. Now, after listening to the conversation, I started digging into what these federal funds mean for our states. So just to make it easier to understand, we're talking about two buckets of money here. We're talking about the CARES Act and we're talking about the American Rescue Plan. But some already don't like how the conversation is going. In a virtual meeting this morning, state leaders discuss what to do with the remaining money from the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan.
Much of the use of the money is related to COVID, the impacts we felt from COVID, and about how to prepare for the next pandemic.
Here's the breakdown. The state's getting $3.7 billion from the American Rescue Plan. Cities and counties across the state will share about $2.28 billion of it. As for Davidson County, we're getting $134.8 million of those funds.
When Davidson County receives its $134.8 million, they will have an opportunity to make a choice about how much of that they want to dedicate to business relief.
The state has until December to spend the remainder of the CARES Act. As for the American Rescue Plan that was passed in Congress this year, the state has until December 2024.
I'm working today in Tennessee. In fact, I'm going to be meeting with over 20 counties later today to talk with them about how to manage this money when they receive it, what the permissible uses are for how they can use this money, how they can do the most good for the greatest number of people in their communities with this federal assistance.
But State Senator Heidi Campbell says one thing the group's not talking about is helping the unemployed.
In Governor Lee's mind, $300 a week of federal assistance for a parent who lost their job is bad. But millions worth of federal assistance for business owners is good. And I think that is an immoral double standard.
Campbell says the accountability group should really consider having funds available to those who lost their jobs, especially if they're having a hard time finding work in their field.
Nobody's arguing that these business owners are unworthy of assistance. It's just like no one should be arguing that people who lost their job through no fault of their own are unworthy of support.
So what, in terms of the restrictions, are there any restrictions, and why is unemployment not being factored into all of this money that the state's receiving?
Well, let me say that I know for sure that there are jobs available in every county in Tennessee today. Every county in Tennessee today has a higher number of jobs available than the unemployment rate. I was in a meeting where we talked about that yesterday. However, let me add as well that one permissible use of the American Rescue Plan funds that are going to be coming to communities are to make grants to households.
Again, this is a long-term project we're talking about here. The money is just starting to come down from the rescue plan. But one thing some of this money could be used for is also public health and for local governments to expand their water, sewer, and broadband too.